start again. It's a rich thing.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems official now that the Chicago Bulls have opened up contract negotiations with Nikola Vucevic. Now, at the end of the day, I know a lot of Bulls fans are literally split down the middle on the situation. At the end of the day, there are some people that are saying that he's a 17-10 offensive player, top 10 offensive player in the NBA, one of the leaders in the double-double statistics, and played all 82 games for the Chicago Bulls, and is someone that is worth keeping. Well, on the other hand, there are some people that are saying he offers no defense, no rim protection, and he's not necessarily the type of center that we may need at this point in time, and that we should let him walk for nothing. So today, I want to give my 2 cents on the situation. I want to give my thoughts and opinions on what I think about Nikola Vucevic potentially, you know, the contract negotiations and stuff like that, potentially rejoining this team. And I also want to talk about what the future may be because of this decision if the Bulls successfully, I guess, get the contract to Nikola Vucevic and he re-signs with the Chicago Bulls team. So, before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about Nikola Vucevic and what would you like to see with the Chicago Bulls team. Do you think it is a good idea to keep him with the Chicago Bulls team? Do you think it's a good idea to get rid of him this season? Stuff of that nature. Now, I must say, when it comes to Nikola Vucevic, I feel like it was always inevitable that contract negotiations would begin. Again, I feel like I say this every time I talk about Vucevic, but we know Vucevic wants to stay here. And we know the Bulls want to keep him. So at the end of the day, to not see any contract negotiations is just, it would be shocking if we didn't even see talks between the Bulls and Nikola Vucevic to, I guess, try to extend that relationship with each other. You know, it's bizarre. And it was never really going to happen. Of course, those talks were going to be inevitable. But just because contract negotiations may open, for those Bulls fans that don't want to keep Nikola Vucevic, just because those contract negotiations are open now, does not mean they will be successful. At the end of the day, there are talks that Vucevic, I think Casey Johnson said this, that Vucevic may ask for a pay rise because of the fact that he played all 82 games and was very available for the Chicago Bulls this season. And, you know, he has every right to do that. At the end of the day, he's in business for himself just as much as he's in business for an NBA team. And to make the most money, it might be the right thing for Vucevic to do. Maybe he doesn't do that. Again, I don't know Vucevic the person. I don't know his agent. I don't know anything about those two or about the, I guess, camp that Vucevic keeps around him. I have no idea. Maybe he doesn't want to ask for a pay rise and will take a friendly deal to keep, I guess, to stay with the Chicago Bulls team. Maybe that's what he wants to do. But my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation is, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to bring back Nikola Vucevic. And here's the reason why. So many people are saying the reason why we should not keep Nikola Vucevic is so that we have enough money to make more signings around the league. Well, as good of a reason that may be, we got to understand this financial situation the Bulls are in, even if we don't bring back Nikola Vucevic. Let's just say you do, alright? For an example, hypothetical situation, let's say Vucevic gets the exact same contract as he got with the Orlando Magic, but let's just say it's maybe 2 years. 2 years, $22 million a season, you know, and Vucevic accepts that. He's happy with that signature, alright? He signs on, he's a Chicago Bull for the next 2 seasons. If you don't bring back Nikola Vucevic, you're still paying Lonzo Ball $21 million. You're still paying Zach LaVine his max contract. I don't even know how much that is. I don't even want to do the math on that. DeMar DeRozan, $28 million. You have to bring back guys like Kobe White. That could potentially be around, you know, $10 to $15 million. Io will probably be around $9 million if you want to bring him back. And of course, there'll be other guys that might accept the player exceptions, like player option, like Andre Drummond or Derrick Jones Jr. That's another $3 million on top of that. Vucevic does not necessarily make us financially free to go and sign a superstar. Not to mention, you will have to sign a center if you don't bring back Nikola Vucevic. So, you know, you could sign a Jakob Poeltl if you want. That's a direction I feel like most people will say, look, we could just go and do that. It'd probably cost less money than Vucevic. If that was an option, I'm all for that. But if Poeltl's not an option, if he stays with the Raptors or he goes to a different team, or, you know, there are a couple of other, sure, free agents that are not better than Vucevic that might fit this team better. But I think people are really overvaluing the centers that we may bring into this team compared to just keeping the one that we have, in all fairness. You know, I've looked at the centers across the league. I've made videos about the 5 centers that we can bring in. Most of them are bench options. They are not starting material. So you know, unless there is that specific center that is good enough to start, would be paid less than Nikola Vucevic. A little bit younger, I agree, we should go younger, and all of that, then I would obviously prioritize that over Nikola Vucevic. But if that's not available to us, keeping Vucevic is probably the next best option, in my opinion. We shouldn't be getting rid of people just for the sake of getting rid of people, in my eyes. For people saying he has no defense, he has no rim protection, I understand that. But if you can't find a good quality starting center that provides those things in free agency, in the draft even, then, you know, you got to keep the next best thing. And I think Vucevic is that next best thing. I think it's ridiculously hard to get rid of someone that averages 17 and 10, playing 82 games a season for $22 million. I think that's a good deal for Vucevic. I honestly do. But I know some people may not agree with that. But here's another reason why I think it's a good idea. You know, I think it's good if we keep Vucevic on a short-term deal. If the contract relies on 1 or 2 seasons, I'm absolutely on board with that as well for a variety of reasons. Because, you know, we can make decisions next season, I think, more impactful than this offseason, in my opinion. If you bring back Vucevic, yes, you're going to be tied up a lot on the financial end. That's understandable, but if you don't extend DeMar DeRozan this season, then all of a sudden you sign Vucevic on a 1 or 2 year deal, you could potentially make moves that frees up a lot of cap space in 2 seasons' time. With Nikola Vucevic, obviously, you know, if you sign him on a 2 year deal, he would be on an expiring deal. If you sign him on a 1 year deal, he'll probably be on, again, he'd be on an expiring contract, and both Vucevic and DeMar will be free agents, and they can walk for nothing if they so choose. We can do a sign and trade if we so choose. All of those things are very, very important. Because if we do try again with this team, for example, and it fails once again, which I know a lot of people expect it to, then Vucevic and DeMar will end up walking out together in many ways. And we have a lot more cap space to retool the team around those two. Or, if you bring back Nikola Vucevic, you decide mid-season, this is not going to cut it, you can trade Vucevic. You have the trade asset now in your possession. You can get something in return for Vucevic, compared to letting him walk for nothing, or compared to a sign and trade that might not suit our needs, because Vucevic may not want to join a different team. That's a conversation piece as well. Same with DeMar DeRozan. If you decide this is it, we do not want this team anymore, midway through next season, you can trade DeMar DeRozan. He's on an expiring deal, granted. You won't get the best return for him most likely, but it could be that turning point. I don't think it is the worst thing in the world to keep Vucevic, because I don't think Vucevic is our biggest problem. You know, I understand we need rim protection. I understand that so heartedly, I really do. But I do not think Vucevic is our biggest problem. I think our biggest problem is how the team is constructed altogether. And I think we need a point guard. I really believe that's where we need to pursue a point guard that can maybe bring things together for this team. I think that is the ideal way to go. And I think Vucevic for a 2-year deal is completely worth bringing back to the Chicago Bulls team. So, in all fairness, I hope negotiations go well. I know a lot of people are not happy with this video because I said Vucevic is worth keeping. I understand that. People really believe that, you know, a roster shakeup is necessary, and Vucevic is probably the easiest target we can get rid of. I don't know, man. I just feel like if you want it, like if this Bulls front office really wants to keep some of the core together, and Vucevic is part of the core they want to keep, I do think you can make that short-term deal happen and make those options of money, financial. You know, Lonzo Ball will be expiring after soon as well. After the next season, I think, or maybe he has a player option. I doubt he'd accept it, but you never know. DeMar DeRozan is expiring. You know, you have a lot more money in a couple seasons' time to make those big moves than just letting go Vucevic now and having more money for sure, but not enough to really make those big changes that we might need. I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, if that's the direction that the Bulls want to go down to keep Vucevic, it's worth doing. So we'll wait and see. If Vucevic goes for 3 or 4 years, then I'll have a problem with it, to be honest, because, you know, as much as Vucevic is a strong player, played 82 games, I wouldn't even say he's out of his prime just yet. 3 or 4 years, you're giving someone their future when he's 32, 33 years old, and, you know, he has not really played at the Orlando Magic level, despite him being the third option on this team. You know what I mean? So, I wouldn't extend him for 3 or 4 years. Maybe 3. I wouldn't extend him for 4. I don't think that's ideal at all, and I do think that heavily restricts us. But 1 or 2 seasons, I don't see a problem with that whatsoever. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Fingers crossed, things go in our favor in that department, and if the Bulls, you know, Bulls fans that want to keep Vucevic and he stays, great. if the Bulls fans don't want to keep Vucevic and he stays, again, tough luck, I guess. And if Vucevic leaves, then I guess we go with what's next. What can we do next that can improve the Chicago Bulls team? So it just depends at the end of the day. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.